Hey, welcome back, guys. Today's message isn't really going to be an opinion or a rant. It's really going to be more of a concrete lesson that I've already learned in my short time here in college. This is specifically going out to high school students who are possibly, maybe not thinking about going to college. So, one of the first things that really hit me when I got here was that procrastination is a lot harder to get away with in college. I mean, you're listening to a guy who didn't even try in high school. I did nothing in high school. I would do things the night before every time, and it worked. I got A's in everything, finished with a perfect 4.0 GPA without ever trying a day in my life in high school. I got here to college though, and my very first test I got a B minus, and that was with the curve. I got an 80, and I was like, it was really humbling. And I remember thinking, I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna have to try now. And for me, I didn't really know how to try. So part of that goes back to high school where I never tried. I thought I could get away with that again in college. I found out real quick I couldn't. So my advice would be that while you're in high school, get things done early. Because honestly, I've learned the lesson now, but it was one torturous semester for me to learn it. If you get things done earlier, you can do fun things after you finish it. Now, I mean, if you're like me, you were probably thinking, oh, I can do this now because I have plenty of time. I strongly encourage you, do it now and then do the fun thing later when you have the time. Because if you're like me, then that project that's slowly approaching just sort of looms over you like a big shadow, and then finally when you have limited time left, you're like, okay, I have to get it done. And it probably won't end up being your best work because you're under time constraints and you don't have time to think about things properly. But the reason that I'm saying this, you might just be like, oh, well, college is just harder. College is harder. That's the thing. It is harder. And the workload is more, but it's also less, and I'll explain that. See, in high school, you probably get homework probably every other day if you're lucky. In college, you really don't have as much homework. But what you do have is more big projects, and your tests are less, but when they come up in waves. So for example, this week coming up, I have 2 tests and 2 projects all due within this week. And for me, that's just a giant wall of death for me. It's going to mean some late nights because, you know, I am kind of busy with classes and other things. But I need to start doing stuff for that now, because if I don't, then I'm going to be cramming to do things this weekend, and I'm not going to have any fun for the weekend. So for me, I figured out real quick that college has these giant walls that hit you, and when the first wall hits, which it's about ready to hit, you almost never have room to breathe before, oh, there comes the next wall. Because I find in college, you'll have tests every quarter or every third of a semester. So you might have 3 tests or you might have 4 tests, depending on the class. So you might have 2 classes that have them every quarter, and you might have 2 classes that have them every third. And like right now, I have those 2 projects also to somehow get done within the week. And so, not to mention all the other little homework that I have. And so, like, what I'm trying to tell you now is that you need to get things done and start early, because you literally cannot wait to do all those at the last second and do them adequately. Now, the second thing that I've learned since I've come to college is that B's are okay. B's are right where you should be. Professors even come out and say that. They say if you are getting a B, then that is exactly where you need to be. That is perfect. A B is really like a high school A. Like an A is where you want to be in high school. A B in college is where you want to be. A's are for people that go above and beyond, and they explicitly say that. If you go above and beyond, that's when you get an A. And so for me, a guy who had a perfect GPA all throughout high school ended with a 4.0 never tried on anything. I learned last semester that Bs are okay. I ended with 2 Bs, which was very, very humbling, and I'm okay with it. It's definitely one of the things that a lot of people don't really realize. And I remember my school, they told me, they're like, yeah, college, the workload's harder and you're gonna get B's. It's a fact. Like, unless you're really, really smart, you're gonna get a B. And I remember thinking, okay, really, how hard could it be? It's as hard as they say. And yet it's also easier, because the problem with college and high school, the difference is I have a week pretty much to do my math homework. I didn't have a week to do math homework in high school. I had like a day, basically. You have basically one day in high school to do all of your homework. Like your trivial homework, like problems 1 through 5, like that type of stuff. But in college, they give you tons of time for the homework, and they give you less time for like projects and things. They expect you to do those in a much more timely manner. Like, for example, one of my projects, I've only had the thing for 2 weeks. And then another project, I've only had the criteria for a week. So they expect you to get projects done quicker, but they also give you a lot more time to do homework, which is the balance is a little different. But really, what it comes down to is, in college, you have a lot more time on your hands to do whatever you feel like doing. Say you want to go work out at the gym, or you want to go hang out with friends that you meet, or you want to go eat at this time, or you want to shower, or you want to read, or you want to watch Netflix, you want to play video games, whatever it may be. They really leave it up to you. I mean, there's no parent pushing you saying you need to get your homework done. It's all you. So that's where it becomes an issue for people. They aren't being told what to do anymore, and all of a sudden, oh, well, I have all this free time to do what I want. Yes, you do. And I'd, once again, going full circle, highly recommend you use that time to not procrastinate and to get your work done early. This is like the most important lesson that I can stress so much for any high school student getting ready to go to college, or just any high school student in general. Get into the habit now, because then you can save yourself the struggle whenever you get to college, as a lot of people face. And a lot of people, it swallows them. It results in them dropping the class because they think they can afford to mess up once. You can't really afford to mess up once in college. I mean, you have at most like 4 tests. You might have some little quizzes, but the tests and the projects are really where the bulk of the points is. And even one of my projects is only worth 10 points, but it's going to take me a couple hours to do. So I mean, you really got to focus and hammer down the tests and these big projects, because they're worth a lot more points than they would have been in high school. And you don't have homework to really counter it as much. So all in all, this is a very important message for any high school student. You need to get into the habit of not procrastinating now and getting your work done as early as possible, so that way when it comes time for college, you're prepared and you're not going to get swallowed up by the giant impending wall of doom that is now approaching me slowly. And I know some of you are probably thinking, why are you making a stinking YouTube video when you could be working on your projects? It's because I've already done a lot of homework today in order to make sure I have time in the very near future, like tomorrow and Wednesday, to work on my projects and study for tests. Plus, we're still learning for the tests, so I can't study the whole test yet, because once again, they don't give you as much time to study for things in college. So you need to make sure you take advantage of the time you have in college, and then that way you don't get swallowed up by the wall of doom. If you can do that and recognize that B's are okay, and not to stress out and freak out when you see a B on your report card, those 2 things right there alone will really, really save you a lot of time. And of course, I also would highly recommend not gaining the freshman 15. It never happened to me, but I actually lost weight and I didn't even like work out. But I'd highly recommend, staying active. If your campus does have a gym that you can access, highly recommend getting access to that, going there, couple times a week if you can. Just you can find time in your schedule. I mean, I know I can, and so I definitely recommend staying active, physically fit, because no one wants to gain the freshman 15. Because I've learned weight's incredibly easy to gain, but man, oh man, is it incredibly hard to get rid of. And this doesn't go just for high school and college students. I mean, anyone can relate with this, but I mean, just stay active, stay up on your schoolwork. I definitely, this is something that people don't really think about, but I mean, you do a lot of reading in class, like for classes. Like I know I have like a chapter to read in my economics class, like every before every class period. But I mean, I definitely recommend bringing like a fun book. Bring like a fun book. Bring like I don't know, Harry Potter. Bring that. Read that. Because sometimes, I don't know, I mean, like Netflix only has so much stuff for you to watch. I mean, I know I've definitely like hit a slump, which is actually good because now I have time to do other things, such as make YouTube videos or study, primarily study. That's usually what I do. But you'll definitely hit a slump on Hulu, Netflix, whatever. I mean, you can have any video streaming service. You're gonna hit a slump. I mean, even if you have cable, you'll hit a slump. I mean, it's good to have something else there to help you pass the time. I mean, I know I still even like have times where I'm just like, I don't want to read, but I don't want to watch Netflix, and I don't have homework, and I made my YouTube video already. So there's times where I don't have anything to do at all. Those are times that, well, I really don't know what I do. I guess I do listen to music, but music's also a good another choice for you to use. But you could always find a hobby too. I know I decided spontaneously one day that I was like, you know what? I've always wanted to learn how to play an instrument. I was like, what's a cheap instrument? My older sister has a ukulele, and I was like, how much does a ukulele go for? So I looked it up on, my friendly Amazon and found I could get one pretty dirt cheap, honestly. Just, I think it was like $40, and I got all kinds of stuff with it to help. Not the best ukulele, but I mean, it kind of soothes me just to play that, 5-10 minutes a day. Just let the music flow. And then obviously, working out's a good way to pass time. But I mean, really, you need to find your thing. Get involved in the school. Stay active physically. And I mean, stay active mentally. Bring a book so you can read. Reading's great. I mean, obviously, make time for playing video games, watching Netflix. Just do that after you get your homework done. Because getting that done, it feels a lot better to watch Netflix knowing you don't have an impending deadline on you than when you do. So if you can do all that stuff, not procrastinate, accept that there's bees, stay active, get a hobby, read, highly recommend reading. If you can do all that, you've got a winning recipe already for college. And you'll be one step ahead of almost everyone else, because I can tell you from personal experience, I've seen people complain about how much stuff they have to do and about how they wish they hadn't waited so long to do stuff. That's really the best advice that I can give you guys right now. But this one wasn't really a rant. It was more of a lesson, if you will. Like I said, definitely recommend this for high school students. Anyone can really look at this, though. I mean, you can apply this to normal life. But I hope you all have a good day. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And you all have a good day. Thanks.